Coming to you from a slaughterhouse in Texas. The Lord. It's the little podcast of horrors with James, Christina, and Chris.
Hello.
Hello. It's little podcast of horror. Yeah. What's up, everybody?
Our a cappella group.
Yeah, if the podcast fails, we can fall back on that.
I'm Christina.
I'm James.
And I'm the man himself, Chris.
We're still calling him Big Papa Chris.
Big Papa, the man, the myth, the legend, Big Papa Chris. Oh, yeah. James, we're going to be talking about the Pleasure Hospital today.
Oh yeah, I hope
Oh.
you have your voice ready.
Oh, can you not hear it? It's ready. It's like a sexy, sexy Morgan Freeman. Not that Morgan Freeman isn't already sexy, but I'm just taking it up a couple of notches. I don't know
Take
where
it
to go
away,
with that.
James.
Take it away, James.
Remember the Raelians?
Who could
I
forget the
do.
Aurelians?
Should we do a quick recap?
Sure. So, if you recall from the first episode, which if you haven't listened to, you probably should, else you might be a bit lost here. But who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows? Go on blind. See what happens. You may be good with it.
It's an adventure.
Anywho, so there's this dude named Rael. He used to have another name. He's a French dude by the name of Claude Verillion. I still can't pronounce it. As I said in in part one, just get ready for me to butcher all the things because I'm just butchering everything I'm going to be pronouncing. Anyway, Claude grew up in a little French Catholic town, and he started his young adult life guitar on his back that eventually led him to Paris, where he became a semi-famous music dude singing and playing on his guitar.
Mhm.
And he would go on to start a basically an automobile magazine in pursuit of his original dream, which is become a race car driver, which he achieved for a time through that venture. But all that came to a halt when he was visited by space aliens. So
That'll
he
put a
was
halt to
taken-
things.
He was taken aboard an alien spaceship that landed in the middle of nowhere, France. And
That may or may not have looked like the inside of a Holiday Inn.
So he spent a few days with the aliens. They chose him as their prophet. And long story short, let's see how to put this. There is no God. There are no gods. What there are aliens. If by aliens you mean humans in space.
Humans in
I
space.
mean, if a human originates from space, isn't an alien human? I don't know. I try not to think about that too much. But anywho, aliens from space came to Earth to create us. And something cloning leads to immortality is kind of the gist of all where this goes. Anyway,
Right.
He has a couple of trips with the space alien buddies. They have some acid trip adventures with multicolored animals and wild forests, and goes to see some strippers with his alien buddies. I really wish I was making this up. And that's the short version. So
Good job, James.
Fantastic.
the Raelian religion is lots of free love and free love and cloning. Yeah, free love and cloning. That's kind
We
of
love it, cloning.
yes.
It's on their t-shirts.
Free love. That's a good one. Ooh, t-shirt idea.
Part two.
Pot two. Pot.
Duh.
Pot the.
So before we really get the ball rolling, let's take since we talked all about Rael's life story last time, let's talk real briefly about his followers, because they're a
Sweet.
bunch of just fun folks. As I said last time, like the as far as cults go, like this is one of the more happier go lucky groups of people. Like there's a lot less creepy to these folks than your run of the mill cult. They're more hippie like. They're just chilling, having some free love, having a good time. All right, so in fact, in the beginning, his first followers, so we're talking in terms of 100, give or take, right? 100 or a few hundred or whatever. And so his original followers were just camping out in tents, being space hippies that they were. And following Rael's life and his interactions with his followers, since he became prophet, and again has been prophet for 40 years now, he's been married 3 times. I couldn't find a lot of information about his wives, but if there's anything that is to raise an eyebrow about this cult story, is that his latest wife, who I'm not sure if he's still married to or not, he married a young gal by the name of Sophie, who was a ballet dancer who he married at the age of 16.
Ew.
I forget the date.
Rudy.
It was either in the late 90s. I want to say it was the late 90s, if not early 2000s. So I mean, he was up there in age when he married her at the tender age of 16.
Well, that's creepy.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but
Kind of immoral.
Don't downplay it. It's creepy.
And illegal.
Yeah.
well, I say weird with implied quotation marks. And bold lettering and underscoring. But so anyway, Sophie was of course one of the Raelians. So he married from his cult, just to add
Of
to
course.
the because I believe both of her parents were followers. So
Oh my God, wait.
That seems suspicious.
Wait, was she like born into the cult?
So again, very little details I can find of her, but that is the vibe I am picking up on.
Ew. No. Ew.
Right?
Yep. Grody.
So that's about all I know about that. His love life seems to be pretty well kept well under the covers, if you will. So a little bit about his crew. Again, more names I'm gonna really butcher, but he's got a particularly large following out of Africa, and we're gonna learn a little bit why.
Okay.
But among his crew, he has one of his close followers is a Japanese individual by the name of Takahati, who bought Rael a house.
Oh,
The
That's
loyal follower
bankrolling.
that he is. Rael has an assistant named Hany, Hany, and he has a close on-staff philosopher by the name of Color. And then finally
on-staff philosopher. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Named
What a great job.
well, I say on-staff philosophers. It's his inner circle, so call it what you will. I don't know. But,
he's like, see, Mom and Dad, my philosophy degree was worth something.
See, it does pay off. And then another member of his inner circle is Lotus, a 26-year-old Chinese musician. So he's got some cool names among his posse here.
Yeah.
And of note, since we're talking about a cult, one of the quotes that I picked up on that I found amusing was so he has a Rael's bishop by the name of Daniel Turcotte. He's basically said in an interview that it's more fun to be in a cult than an organized religion. It's like, okay, fair.
Alrighty. Interesting.
I respect.
What
I
does that
respect
mean,
the
though?
candidness, though. There. But to lead to if there's to if we're to give any more credence or respect to this following, it's worth noting that there actually is a significant number of like actually well credentialed scientists of like various fields that have joined this movement. So as far as cults go, this is actually a very science friendly cult. I mean, they're all about cloning, so they like the science. They're all about the aliens and the spaceships and the cloning.
I'm still waiting for, I mean, we already have a sex scandal with the 16-year-old, but like
Right.
more sex scandal, like, I don't know. I don't trust it.
Yeah, I say we're just waiting. We're waiting for the
Oh,
other
God.
shoe to drop.
I've got my hackles up.
I was too the whole time researching this, but no, I have yet to encounter any sex scandals other than the implied one.
Okay.
So I didn't run into any former followers speaking out or anything like that. Like everybody in his circle seems to be just a bunch of happy little hippie alien cult people. So
Happy alien camping cult people.
so since I mentioned one of them has the title of priest, it's worth noting the ranks of membership in this happy little cult. So at the bottom level, you have trainees. So you start off as a trainee. You can graduate to assistant organizer. And above that is organizer. And from there, you can become assistant priest, followed by priest. And finally, bishop. And then at the tippity top, planetary guide.
Oh shit. Okay.
they
So
should've
which
gone
ones get to meet aliens? Which one of these?
I would have gone with planetary pope.
Gotta have some alliteration in there. The only person that I'm aware of has had direct alien access is Rael himself. I can't think of any instances of his posse getting to hang with aliens.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a bummer to be a planetary guide and not even get to meet the aliens.
Right? Maybe they do. I mean, it didn't really say one way or the other, but
you know what? You know why they probably nobody but Rael gets to meet the aliens? You know why? Because they're probably not real.
way to be a downer, Chris.
I'm just suspecting the dude that marries a kid may not be
Yeah. Are you saying
trustable?
That the man that thought he was Jesus's little brother,
half brother,
might not be telling the truth, or might be a little bit delusional?
Yeah, I feel like this guy might not be, totally trustworthy, I guess you could say.
Way to be a party pooper, guys.
Hey man, we're just being realistic here.
So the Raelians have founded a number of organizations. The first of which, of note, is a little organization by the name of Clonaid. Clonaid. Really
Is
hard
it
to
a drink?
Right? So Clonaid was founded in 1997 to advocate present verb tense for human cloning. Hence Clonaid. Aiding cloning. It's still really weird. And the more times I say it, the weirder it sounds. Clonaid, anyway.
Turn into a clonado.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry.
Sounds like a drink you'd get down on Sunset Boulevard. I'll take a Clonaid on the rocks.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like one of those canned cocktails or something.
Right.
Or you're like one of those 90s, attempts to be cool with liquor. Hey man, we drink Clonaid. Everybody cool drinks Clonaid.
So if you remember from last episode, this dude was actually invited by Congress to come, the Congress consulted him on the ethics of cloning.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's like,
Yeah.
Who, fellow Congress people, should we bring in to talk about the future of cloning? I know.
The cult leader.
The cult leader who founded Clonaid.
The cult leader
There you
who
go.
founded Clonaid.
So in 2002, Clonaid claimed to have successfully cloned a girl that they named Eve.
Like a human girl.
Yes, they claimed to have fully cloned a fully human girl.
Named her Eve. No Adam.
Named
They
her
didn't
Eve.
clone Adam, just Eve.
They just
Who needs
cloned Eve.
Adam? Nobody needs Adam.
Yeah, who needs that
Right.
dick?
So, of course, as you may have guessed, they never presented her to anyone to prove their success in
sure.
cloning. But this
Yeah,
was
sure.
to protect her privacy.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So totally trust them. They totally have cloned a girl. They just
Mhm.
don't want her to get bothered by the media, like, keep her life private. So there's no need to show her off to everybody. But they totally did it.
Totally.
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 So, I was mentioning that this guy has a big following in Africa. There's a town, state, village. I guess it's probably a village. Yes, it is a village. So there's a village by the name of Elohika, Elohika, Elohika. It's a Raelian village in Africa, and so a plus for happy Raelians. Rael has been encouraging Africans to go back to their roots and their traditional religions from before colonization forced them by gunpoint to become Christian. So he's encouraged them to return to their roots, decolonize themselves and whatnot.
You become Christian or else I'll shoot you with this gun that I borrowed from the National Rifle Association.
So now this other white guy has showed up and say, hey.
I was thinking he's like, colonizer blood too. Like, what? Bro.
But for what it's worth, there's a Raelian bishop, there in that area by the name of Zadu Lazare Djeba. Again, I'm so sorry, I have no idea how to pronounce these names. But a quote from him is he has said to the camera, all Western religions have trampled the blacks. Rael says, get up. So that's kind of like why he has a bit of a following out there, is he's been very encouraging, white boy that he is, mind you, of
that encouraging white boy.
of going back to black roots and black religions and traditions and whatnot, and trying to bring that back to the forefront and do some decolonizing.
Okay.
So another big thing to note about this religion is how they handle sexuality. So Rael and all his followers promote sexual liberation, and they are fully LGBTQ affirming whole nine yards. In fact,
That's
the
good.
reason they are is because sex is a gift from the aliens.
Thanks, aliens. You guys are awesome.
Okay, they win the white elephant, game. It's my gift.
We give you the gift of sex.
Enjoy.
Enjoy. Oh, we will.
So, on that note, in fact, Raelians practice what they call sensual meditation.
Oh, yeah.
Sensual.
Sensual meditation.
Okay.
And they advocate. Why can't I say advocate? I want to say advocate now, no matter which way I say it.
Just
and
say
they-
avocado.
And they avocado for self-love.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
I know what you mean by self-love. I call this one Pamela Henderson. Oh, they're gonna get on to that Self-love.
You sure you didn't already know about this religion?
Maybe.
So Rael himself outlined sensual meditation in his 1980 book La Méditation Sensuelle,
Looking it up.
which I gotta, if you remember this guy's book titles from the previous episode, I gotta give him respect for consistency. He is just, it leaves nothing to imagine. He leaves nothing to the imagination.
I just wanted some. I'm fighting the urge to just start narrating, because with my sexy voice, it's too close to Morgan Freeman, and I just wanted to start narrating this like Shawshank Redemption. It's like, I didn't think much of Raul Elohim until he gave us a masturbation handbook, and then at that point, I was sold all the way. Who would have thought you could do that with both your hands? I did. Thanks, Rael.
But yeah, as far as book titles go, if you remember for the first episode, he had The Book That Tells the Truth, and like, you know, keeping with his titling trend, the sensual meditation. You know what it's about from the title. Just
Yeah, I mean,
fancy here.
straight to the point.
Yeah. So Raelians practice daily guided meditation by listening to an audio tape.
Okay. Not in person as a group.
That's how I was about to say. They
Oh,
conduct, they do
hold that
sensual
thought.
meditation by watching the
Hold-
videotape.
Hold
Sometimes
that
it,
thought. No,
sometimes it,
listening to an audio tape.
see, I thought he was going to say videotape. Sometimes it's Debbie Does Dallas, and other times it's Deep Throat. You know, it's all a mystery, baby.
Well, see so they listen to these guided audio tapes to perform sensual meditation, with the end goal here is to transmit love and telepathic links to the Elohim in order to harmonize with infinity.
So your orgasms harmonize you with infinity. Is that
I
the
mean,
gist? Okay.
Masturbate for infinity.
oh God.
Hey, you know what?
Did they scream that out in the middle? Like, I'm harmonizing with trans. I'm so sorry for anybody
You
listening.
guys,
They're like,
That's how
vibrate
you-
responsibly.
And that's how you telepathically commune with our creators.
transmit responsibly too, and make sure to clean up afterwards.
Oh,
Ashtar's gonna have to step it up now.
I know.
The competition is starting to get kind of fierce. So to answer Christina's question, they also do this in groups during monthly meetings. They will
On the full moon.
they will sit and lie on the floor of a dimly lit room while a guide, often Rael himself, will speak through a mic, all of which is accompanied by New Age music.
Mhm. Okay.
So sensual meditation begins with harmonisation avec l'infini, which is, I guess, French for harmonization with the infinite. And if I knew how to say things in French, I would have pronounced that correctly. But it starts with deep breathing, and then you relax and you envision expanding your frame of reference until the self is but a speck in the universe. Then you visualize your bones and organs all the way down to your individual atoms. So it's basically said, basically imagine, like at this point, you start to imagine, try to imagine being on the Elohim's own planet and then telepathically communicating with them.
Okay.
All part of the sensual meditation, baby.
It sounds really weird, but it doesn't sound like
It doesn't
as
sound
icky as I thought it was going
Well,
to.
Not
just
yet.
remember, you're doing a sexy the whole time.
You're what?
Oh, so you're touching yourself the whole time.
Yeah, juicy dude.
Okay, never mind. I take it back.
Oh, this is exactly what I was afraid it was. No. Well, this dude is. I heard
How
this
do
guy.
you harmonize with infinity, man?
I
And dude's just walking around.
don't.
So yeah, so practitioners of this meditation, a lot of them have described afterward a sense of well-being, psychic abilities,
Oh, heck
or
yeah.
get this, sexual arousal, all of which are evidence of a telepathic contact with the Elohim.
If you have sexual arousal, though, you're touching yourself. So obviously.
Yeah. So that's.
Well, you know, you're getting aroused, you're having some psychic abilities, you're feeling really good about yourself.
Okay. I mean, you know what? As long as it's consensual, it's all good, right?
I mean, okay, you know, not dogging on masturbation. I'm just, you know, I heard this guy sing, so I know what his voice sounds like, and it's like this guy's talking while I'm supposed to be doing that. It's like,
I'm talking to you. Harmonize in the universe. We go down and let it flow free.
So yeah, these guys are they are very pro consensual stuff,
Okay.
very pro sexual freedom, acceptance of all sexualities, genders, etc. And they have they've done various hijinks, such as one time they handed out condoms at a Catholic school in Montreal.
ooh, that's a big no-no.
And
For those who don't know, in Catholicism, they are against protection. You're not supposed to
Birth
Catholic.
control
birth control. Thank
of
you.
any form.
you're
Yeah.
Of
supposed
any
to raw
form.
dog it.
Ew. Do
Oh
not say
God!
raw
Dogging
dog.
it, Jesus!
Saying
Ah.
crazy Catholics, man.
That's gonna wake me up at 3 a.m. Just raw dog.
So you're totally okay with all the sensual meditation at this
No,
point.
I've made it
This
clear
is
I'm
where
not
the
okay
line
with
is.
any of this. This is
I just hate that phrase.
I did too.
no. This is like all of this is just so uncomfortable. But you know what?
I just figure if we're going into the pit, we might as well
Let's
fly on the accelerator all the way to the floor.
let's just. It's like we're riding on a drunk horse towards a barn that's on fire. Let's just keep going.
Let your hair down. It's all going to be burnt to a crisp soon anyway.
Just do it.
So of note, African aliens express their sexuality by I thought this was interesting, by wearing colored ribbons. So this is very it's a very practical practice. So the idea is that they don't want to waste time accidentally pursuing somebody who isn't of the matching sexuality. So they just wear a ribbon or whatever that says, hey, I am homosexual, bisexual, whatever, like the color will tell you. So, you know,
Mhm.
oh, I can hit on that person, or I shouldn't, because they're not going to
I
like
love it.
Right. So yeah, there's color coding. So like, for example, red equals multiple partners, green signifies monogamy, and then white is like no partner. And then I'm pretty sure there's other stuff like, you know, which way you lean or whatever.
Right. That's cool. I mean, I wear rainbow out, so to convey the same sort of message.
Yeah. But I just had to respect the practicality. It's like,
Yeah.
people guessing, just, you know,
Straight to it.
up front. It's not waste any time. Life's too short.
That would be so helpful.
So to quote another Aurelian bishop, this is a Dr. Bridget Boisselier. She teaches that sexuality is important and you should follow your rhythm. Remember, it's all about the rhythms.
The motion of the ocean.
That's right.
Don't come a knocking if you see the boat a rocking.
Yep.
Don't rock the boat, baby, rock the boat.
But yeah, all things sexual with this cult. Everything is always about consent. And then once you have consent, everything is
important.
everything is possible depending on what you feel like doing with respect to your partners. So as long as you got the consent, anything goes. Nobody's going to be doing the judging.
Okay.
All
And in
right.
fact, there's even a special division of Aurelians it's a group of women, and like their whole function is to go support sex workers.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's good.
So they definitely practice what they preach. Gotta get it. The Aurelian Church holds week-long stages of awakening, which are seminars involving lectures, sensual meditation, fasting and feasting, testimonials, and alternative therapies, let's say.
It's got a real pagan feel about it. Okay.
Right. And in fact, they come to these, they all wear white togas with name tags.
I'm just keep thinking about the sensual meditation. I wonder if like at some points like he grabs his guitar and he's like walking around singing.
Oh, he does.
While they're doing that, and he's all like, it's that good form, Frank.
Oh.
Louise, 3 fingers, good for you. Don't finish. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at Phil. Go, Phil, go.
So some of the activities that have occurred at these seminars that they've been infamous for is at one point during one of these seminars, everybody dressed as the opposite gender so as to experiment with expressing gender fluidity.
Okay.
And another time they all masturbated.
Don't they already do that anyway?
Like you do.
Well, just out in the open, all among each other. They just did masturbation.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Susan! How are you? Oh, you're busy right now. Sorry. She's going at it, man. I didn't realize.
So these seminars are all about forming relationships, including sexual ones.
No shit. Really?
So in fact,
Who
they've
would have thought?
been known to get down and dirty right there, just going right into their little tents and having sex on the spot during these seminars.
Wow.
Little sex magic for the afternoon. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So let's now segue into the pleasure hospital.
The pleasure hospital. Oh, yeah. Wonder how many kids got conceived through all of this? Like, damn. So many babies. I know. Like, I don't know.
So the Aurelians dumped £250,000 to build this hospital over about 8-ish years, give or take, if memory serves. So it took a while. It took some money to build this thing. Okay, so there's a little bit of a serious note here, and I think it merits a little bit of a trigger warning for not good things happening to women in that part of the world. Let's say. So if that gives you any hints that ain't something you want to hear, just do some skipping about this mark here. But So that said, and also bringing this up, not to just have fun at the pleasure hospital, but this is also like a topic of itself that's worth making some awareness about. So in parts of Africa that are particularly the type of Islam that tends to be problematic, let's say, female genital manipulation, or what they would call circumcision, is the thing that is done to all the women over there. So I'm not going to go into detail about that because I'm squeamish, if nothing else. But it's basically it's a cutting of the clitoris, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But the result is, for women, it means that sex is painful instead of causing pleasure. It sucks.
The fuck?
So, to the Aurelians' merits, their whole purpose for building the pleasure hospital in this particular region of Africa was to attack that problem. And so the pleasure hospital is so named because its whole purpose is to perform reversal surgeries that restore the clitoris so that women can experience pleasure again without pain.
How do they do that?
I do not know. It is a science, and it is so far over my head.
Like some sort of stem cell thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll mention. I need to remember to mention on the way out my sources, and I'll mention the one that talks about this in detail.
Okay.
But yeah, so they fix it. So they undo the. Apparently, it doesn't take too terribly long, and it's not as involved as you might think.
Okay.
From what I gathered from documentary stuff.
Hmm.
Again, I am way too squeamish to talk about it, but just
Yeah.
but I'm glad it can be fixed.
Thank God for that.
So the Raelian philosophy behind this is that again, sex is a gift from the aliens. We humanity were all meant to be happy, but sexual pleasure was taken away from these women.
Mm-hmm.
So to quote another Raelian bishop by the name of Banamani Troy, he goes on to say talking about sex is no longer taboo for them, and that they are building a pleasure hospital with their white friends to operate, heal, and restore the clitoris for free. So it's for any women that need it. So if you recall what the cloning division was named,
Clonate?
what might this organization be named?
Clit aid.
Clitorade. Clitorade?
Clitorade.
Clitorade.
I got a powerful thirst, and so I'm gonna grab some clitorade. Pleasure in my mouth.
Well, Clitorade's slogan is restoring a sense of pleasure. So yes,
And electrolytes.
Clitorade is the Raelian charity that funded the hospital.
If
So,
you've got a big thirst and you need a new clitoris, grab clitorade.
They have a genius marketing guy or
Right?
girl. Like
I just love to like, take whatever it is you're doing, slap aid onto it, and we're
aid.
good. So volunteers came from all over and to work at this hospital, and among the volunteers were like internationally recognized like experts. So it's like some actual like real deal legit surgeons volunteering their time and resources for this. Some of the patients had basically reported that they found themselves reconnecting to their womanhood as a result of the surgery. And one of the Raelian doctors had described it as like they're helping women, blossom like a flower again, and like to watch them recover from this is to like watch them blossoming like a flower as they reconnect to their womanhood. And they say that giving women back their pleasure is a beautiful way to heal the planet, one person at a time. So again, the Raelians, this is a cult. Actually, they do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
So they did some commercials. If you remember, I showed you guys these commercials, but the commercials, you gotta look them up. They're on YouTube. They're amazing. But to give you a little preview, these were commercials that I'm assuming aired in the region, but they're in English. But one of the commercials are amazing. So one of them is just two gay men in bed, and then it's clear that they have just finished, doing the thing together. And suddenly one of them says, right after orgasming, says to his partner, "Hey, shall we give money to the clit box for my orgasm? Everyone deserves some pleasure." So this is a commercial for the clit box. So what they encouraged everyone to do, especially men, was that if you were capable, if you have the privilege of having an orgasm, then every time you have an orgasm, you should drop something in the clit box that you keep beside your bed that you then use to donate to the pleasure hospital.
I really feel
Some
like
dudes be
this
going broke.
I feel like this episode is going to become synonymous with our listeners to where it's like they take a shot every time James says orgasm.
So yeah, keep a clip box by your bed to donate to, because everybody deserves some pleasure. And the other commercials are just as great. I mean, they've got men, women, etc. It's just, but all the commercials are equally sexy with promoting donations to the clip box. Okay, so the clip box is, you donate to it every time you orgasm. So the sad part of the story is that only 25 women were operated on before, guess what? The government revoked their license when the hospital was shut down. So Lene Sepko, the Minister of Health in that region, stated that medical organizations should be focused on saving lives and not advertising their religion in an attempt to convert vulnerable people.
What?
Whereas Tror, the Rayleigh and I quoted before, that was kind of one of the figures behind this hospital, claimed that it was actually closed because the government feared patients would convert to Raelianism because they were getting, their lives back in a sense.
Okay.
So for what it's worth, there's a BBC reporter who was on location kind of when this was going down, and the reporter had said that as far as what she had observed, none of the actual doctors that were performing the surgeries, none of them were even railing it themselves, and she saw no attempts to convert the patients when she was there. So that's from BBC reporter when she was checking it out. So
Yeah,
take that as you will. But for what it's worth, local doctors in the area afterward rallied, and they were able to build a small clinic on their own to provide the service instead. So they kept trucking on. But from what I understand, there was still, it's a fight with the government there. But for what little time that they could conduct the operation, women were flying in from all over Africa, apparently as far as Kenya, to get this operation done. And but yeah, so the government would come in again and revoke permission from the clinic, so they just kept shutting this down. But at least for a brief time, the Raelians were doing a good thing and helping some women out. So gotta give props there.
the government, such
Props
a
to the
bummer, no matter
right?
where you are.
The government's got no love
Mm.
for the pleasure hospital.
No,
No
not
love.
very sex positive.
No love for the clit box.
So let's talk about Rael's Angels. So
okay.
Like Charlie's Angels or
yes.
literal? Oh, geez. Okay.
Good morning, Angel. Have you masturbated today?
God.
So Rael's Angels is an order within the cult, the religion or whatever, that the Elohim themselves had Rael put into place. And oh, you guys are gonna love this. So they formed for the purpose of welcoming the Elohim upon their arrival. So the Raelians selected, or the Elohim or whoever, whatever, I'm sure whatever authority had a penis, though. They selected the most beautiful Raelian girls to prepare to welcome the Elohim with flowers.
They're gonna pimp them out to aliens.
As you do.
Is that what I just heard?
Hey, free love. I guess. I don't know.
Oh my Lord.
Is it pimping if it's for free?
Oh my God, that's somehow worse.
Right? So this is to quote them directly. Physical beauty is an important criterion because we, the Elohim, though we have an infinite love for human beings, whatever their appearance, we
Whatever.
prefer to be surrounded by individuals of great beauty, corresponding to the absolute perfect original models of the different races that we had once created on Earth.
No, this is like
What?
dudes at a bar that are like, I think all women are beautiful, but then they're like mean to, like
Right?
a girl with I don't know, glasses or something. Like just something
If
arbitrary.
she's got glasses on, that bitch had better stay away from me. I don't like these book nerds.
So the angels wear feathers around their necks. White for say this is much like the other color trending thing. So white feathers signify that they are free to have other relationships as they please, or pink for choosing to be exclusive to the prophets and the Elohim. So Rael.
They don't want other dictating. They're hot girls.
Right.
Of course.
So the angels send the prophet pictures of themselves every year, and he decides how they are, and if they weigh too much, will offer advice on how to
Oh.
lose weight.
What the
No,
They
hell?
fuck no.
are to be as light as a feather.
No, fuck no.
Yeah.
No, this is like
Yes.
Nexus. This is not, this
Right.
is creepy.
This is taking a turn.
This,
Yes.
a very
A
bad
U-turn, if you
turn.
will.
Which, should we be surprised? He married a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah, I feel like the shoe dropped, right? We were waiting.
Yep, and here it
So
is.
for what
going
it's
down.
worth or not worth, supposedly all of this is consensual voluntarily, and any of them can quit at any time.
Whatever, man. No, whatever.
Yeah, it's still
That's
that's still
No
that's
credibility
fucked up.
here.
So,
Hey, you
Uh,
can quit any time. You'll still be unwanted though.
Yes.
Yeah,
Still be
anytime you-
hideous.
Yeah, you'll still be. You freaking nerd. Go put your glasses on. Nobody cares. Masturbation.
all right, so let's wrap this up here. So some
That's what they wish they had done.
So some closing. Well, okay. Actually, so before I get to that, remember way back when this started, Rail was very open about he picked up the guitar to like pick up chicks.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
this seems to have been the steady through line. Like if anything, if I at least hand it to him that he has been open and consistent the whole time,
Yeah.
for what it's worth. But all right. So some of my closing thoughts on our Raelian aliens here. One of the things I found particularly amusing about the documentary that I referenced in part one, which again highly recommend watching because there are things that I cannot describe. You got to see it. It's like you'll get so much more out of the documentary. But at one point during the documentary, a group of, because the documentarian and his crew are just out walking down the sidewalk with Rael, a group of Mormons show up, and as being Mormons, they start witnessing to Rael. And so so they hand him a pamphlet about our Heavenly Father, to which Rael replies, yes, the Elohim.
Yes.
Oh, that really
Okay.
tickled me. It's like, he takes the pamphlet about the Mormons God, like, oh yeah. Tell him. I know these guys.
Yeah, I know him. That's my dad.
Like, what?
Jesus, half brother.
So another thing of note that didn't really fit into the rest of my narrative was there is an ex-friend of Rael's that he claims that at the time of Rael's original story, when he was first talking about being abducted, there were a lot of reports of people in that region of France seeing UFOs. So allegedly, Rael asked this friend where he the friend thought a UFO should land. And so the friend came up with that place where Rael claims it land and pointed out to maps. It's like, well, if a UFO is going to land, I think it'll land right here. And so sure enough, Rael comes out later and says, I was visited by a UFO right at the spot.
Oh my
Saying
god.
that he made the whole thing up just to get chicks.
No.
I feel
Another interesting point is one of his first followers, now ex-followers, recanted a story of Rael basically claiming to have met with religious leaders after Rael read a comic book. at this now ex-follower's house, in which the main character of the comic book met with the religious leaders. So in other words, like Rail starts picking up this comic at his friend follower's house and sees the character meeting with a bunch of religious leaders, and then sure enough, what happens soon later? It's like, I've been meeting with a bunch of religious leaders.
You know what?
He's
So
not
this-
even imaginative.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
So this follower, you will be surprised to hear, concluded that Rail was only interested in being important and having sex.
Okay, yeah.
What?
I feel like that tracks.
I'm surprised. I didn't see this coming at all.
Yeah, Chris is shook.
I don't. I'm questioning everything now.
So on a closing note, again, this didn't fit anywhere into the narrative, but there's this in the documentary that I keep referring to. The documentarian keeps cutting to this one-on-one he has with a Jewish professor, and just kind of give a more comparing to a mainstream viewpoint as he's exploring this cult.
Mhm.
And one thing that I liked that the Jewish professor said that I feel like is actually kind of like a good theme of our show. Excuse me. It's possible to discredit almost everything that anybody thinks about anything. That's not interesting.
What?
Debunking things isn't fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's lame. Quit debunking things.
So in other words, say it you will, it's
Mm-hmm.
fun to explore this stuff.
Ruminate, ponder.
It's
Yeah.
fun to explore the pleasure hospital. That's the theme of this story.
Yeah, so this was a lot of like, oh, hey, good for you, helping women recover, and then like, oh, you only want hot women around your inner circle. That's the opposite direction.
Yep.
Oh, you married a 16-year-old who
Yeah.
probably was born into the cult too. Come on.
Yeah.
man.
So it was a lot of like research of this was a lot of like, oh,
Mhm.
that's nice. Oh, that's not nice. Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Oh,
That's grody.
Well,
Okay.
that was a wild ride.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Like my brain is tingly. Something's happening.
just when you have an orgasm, remember those who cannot.
I bet you they were tingling in the sensual meditation too. While Ryle Elohim walked around singing his French songs with his very high voice. Bon, j'entends, j'entends, j'ai bonté, j'entends les longs. Good form. Good form.
Help.
Oh, and the mess. All for nothing. I'm let down, man. All right, well, cool story. Cool story, bro. If you like this story,
Cool story, bro.
if you like this story, gave you ideas. Don't share them, please. But like and subscribe. If you feel so compelled to hear more stories like this, or not, feel free to donate to the cause.
If you want to get railed by the Raelians, that's on you.
Yeah, that's on you, man. We do not represent the Raelians, or being railed by the Raelians, or sensual meditation. So, yeah.
But Pleasure Hospital is pretty cool.
Yeah, Pleasure Hospital,
Get behind that.
Yeah, donate to the clip box. So, also, if you have any stories of your own that you'd like to share, please feel free to email us at littlepodcasthorrors@gmail.com. And of course, as always, vibrate responsibly. What was the other one we just thought?
that one was first.
That we just
oh,
in this
shit.
episode? That's going to be a t-shirt. Yeah.
It
We'll have
was
to
like
listen to
feel
ourselves to
something in
remember our own
cloning. Yeah.
catchphrases.
What?
We'll have to listen to ourselves to remember our own catchphrases.
I know, right?
We bring to this.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Thank goodness it's all recorded. All right.
Vibrate
Well,
sensually.
yeah.
I
What?
think that was it. Vibrate sensually.
Vibrates sensually. The Pleasure Hospital. Okay, I'm done.
El
Okay,
Ashtar
bye.
or the Elohim now.
I guess.
Take your
Nah, fuck them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, no, we're
I'm
not.
not with it.
Yeah, Ashtar still has them locks, man.
Yeah, man. And them beautiful blue eyes. Oh, Ashtar. Hail Ashtar.
Ashtar's not asking for any angels upon his arrival.
Yeah, man. He'll take you any which way he can get you.
Is.
Anyway. Anyway.
He's got the face of an angel, man.
He does, man. So